What's going on, guys? It's Boxing Lowdown and I'm back here with another video. Now, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Feel free to drop a comment if you like and I'll happily get back to you. Now, let's talk about something different. Let's talk about belts in boxing and how much do you value them today. Now, forgive me if I divert in this video or go all over the place. I don't tend to write notes or anything like that for my interviews. I just go straight in and just speak what's on the mind. So I was looking at a quote from Tyson Fury. It was about a week or two ago, and it was before the Dillian Whyte and Povetkin fight, and what Fury was talking about possibly having to defend his belt against Dillian Whyte, and he was saying that, you know, he's not interested in being forced to defend the WBC title, and, you know, if he has to give it up, then he will. The fight with Anthony Joshua will, you know, remain as big as it is without the belts. And I remember Canelo saying something similar a few years before about defending the WBC belt and not having to, you know, submit to their, you know, to their requirements, so to speak. So, you know, has the value of the major belts, and I'm talking about the big four belts here, the WBC, the WBA, the IBF and the WBO. Those are the big four in terms of belts in today's boxing society. How much value do you place on those belts today? Because does it depend on the fighter? You know, Tyson Fury, for example, saying that he don't need the belt. It won't make necessarily be a big thing in the fight with Anthony Joshua. But some traditional boxing fans like myself, I still like the belts. I mean, I still like the fact that there's an undisputed champion and they hold all the belts. And I know it's very difficult in today to be able to hold all the four belts at the same time, because all of them have like their own requirements. All of them have mandatories that need fulfilling. So to be able to satisfy all four organizations is very difficult. And you kind of get thrown off nowadays with some of the politics that take place in boxing, because let's be honest, there are the most recent being with the WBC ordering Canelo Alvarez to fight Avni Yildirim. And this is no disrespect to Avni Yildirim, but he's in no way in a position to take on Canelo for, you know, the WBC title. And then when you speak more about the WBC title, you look at the situation with the franchise belts, something that's confusing to everybody. The WBA, they've got, you know, they've got the regular belt now. They've got the WBA super belt. I mean, the WBO, like, I mean, you know, I think only the IBF don't have, like, you know, a second tier. I know they have an intercontinental belt, but that's not like, you know, it's not, they don't look at that as a world title. So for me, I've always liked the IBF. I think the IBF for me, in terms of all four of the sanctioning bodies, I think that they are probably the closest that we can get to, you know, a body that upholds as much of boxing as they can. You know, I mean, I think that there's too much politics with the WBC. The WBA, I don't like the fact that they're just like got a WBA super belt and a regular belt. I think that that's pretty annoying. And the WBO, to be fair, do they have the same sort of thing? I'm not sure, but I've always held the IBF in high regard, in my personal opinion. I've always liked the Ring Magazine belt. I like the way how they carry on their business with the belts. I mean, they have one particular belt per division. There's like a qualifying system in terms of who can fight for that belt. And I think that they, yeah, well, that for me is definitely, they're not really a sanctioning body though, but I think that the ring for me is like the most important belt. But for fighters and fighters of today, I mean, if you look at a fighter, an up and coming fighter who is doesn't make that much money on TV, he needs kind of a big break, and he fights for one of the belts, that automatically propels him into, you know, a next generation of pay bracket. You know, he can earn a lot more with a title. But for an already established star, somebody like a Canelo, somebody like a Tyson Fury, the belts don't mean as much. I mean, there's not as much significance on them. So I can see why it can vary for the fighter in terms of winning a world title and you know, retaining it. I mean, some fighters don't really need it as much, whereas others, it can give their career a boost. Look at Caleb Truax, for example. You know, when he defeated James DeGale, that belt that he held, you know, it got him some major fights, and like he's still having some fights now, you know, so it does help. The likes of Joe Smith Jr. as well. I mean, it helps these type of fighters pick up, you know, extra money, and that's what these guys are fighting for at the end of the day. So as well as the glory. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts on it, man. How significant are belts in today's boxing world? What do you place on them? Would, like, for example, if AJ and Fury fought and the undisputed title was not on the line, would it have an effect on you? I mean, would you look at the fight the same? Do you just want to see? I mean, we all know that the winner of that fight will be number one technically, but with there not being all the belts on the line, does that not kind of, you know, I'm a bit of a, like, does it not make it a bit more romantic having all the belts on the line with Fury and AJ? I'm curious to know your opinion. I'm curious to know, man, because belts in boxing and politics is always going to be a thing. I think that it might get worse, you know, the more we go on. I think that there'll be more belts, because at the end of the day, more belts equate to more money for these sanctioning bodies. And yeah, we're seeing too many of them. I mean, I saw a quote from Errol Spence. I think it was a tweet that he put out, actually, and he said that there are just way too many belts in boxing, and I tend to agree. I'm a traditionalist. I like to see one champion per division, but like I said, I understand fighters on the way up who need a big break, or need a bit more money, or need a bit of propel them to stardom. Like, winning one of these belts, let's say one of them just wins like the IBF or the WBA belt, that can automatically put them in a better position to earn more money for their family. So I get it. I understand both sides of the coin, but I want to hear your opinion on it anyway. I won't make this video too long. What are your thoughts on belts in boxing today, and how much value do you place on them? Does it have an effect? Can it, you know, market a fight even higher than what it could be, you know, like with regards to Fury and AJ? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video.